Hello and welcome to Ricochet. I'm Dr. Ray Carr. Today we're going to be talking about provincial examinations. Now that's a subject that a lot of people don't have familiarity with if they haven't taken provincial exams, but we've got some people on the show today who have actually taken them and some other people who are expecting to take them soon. So we'll be right back to talk about provincial exams. Stay with us, please. Hello, welcome back to Ricochet. We're talking about provincial exams, and it's a topic that is kind of interesting because a lot of students have to take exams now, and it's something that can cause a lot of anxiety and worry, and we're going to find out more about it. There's some people who aren't worried about it at all because they aren't taking them for another couple of years. But what are the provincial exams? Some of you have taken them, already. Can you tell us, what is it? Is it an all-day activity, true and false test? Can you just give us a little description of it? Tom,
okay, I'll tell you, I've done some.
Okay.
There's a 2-hour exam, and it is usually about 60% multiple choice, I'd say, 60 or 70.
That's good.
Depending on the exam, then there's essay questions, or with math, there's long working out questions that aren't multiple choice. And then there's an hour scholarship exam, and they're all written at the same time by everyone in the province, and we all do the same exam.
What if you're sick?
You go anyway.
Do you know, but like
Okay,
really
can you
sick,
take
like
a
on your
makeup exam?
deathbed?
You
Well,
can if
I
you have a
think you
medical
write it
excuse.
in June if you have a medical excuse.
Yeah, you have
So
to.
the scholarships are
Or
always
you write
fall?
the next one. Like there's one in January and one in June of every one.
Okay, so one is just the January exams, and you took the exams, and what topics did you take it in?
I was taking algebra, geography, and biology.
So would that be true then, Tony, that everybody took those at the same time? I mean, is that what you're saying, that you would have taken the same 3 exams at...
I didn't take the same exams. It depends on the course you take, but each exam for the specified course is taken at the same time.
So which ones did you
I
take?
had geography and literature.
Okay, so all the exams are on the same day, but it might be different exams.
Well, no, it's spaced throughout the
No,
week.
they're
but
spaced
Oh,
throughout the week.
okay.
There's one exam every day in a different subject, and it's usually from 1 till 3. And then after that, from 3:10 to 4:10 is the scholarship component, which you only write if you are a scholarship level student.
What if you took algebra in the first term, then you took algebra in the second term?
Right,
Would it
it's
be
a
the same
different
test?
exam, but it's always, everybody in the province writes it at the same time.
They try
I
to
guess
make
that's
it
so
as
you
close
can
as they
calling
can.
your friend and telling
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
what's on
You
the
have
to
exam.
write
two
then? Like one in January, one in June, or what?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it
No.
Oh,
depends
you
on
guys are on the semester system, right?
Yeah.
When your course is finished, then you write the final exam, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Got it.
So it's a 2-hour exam, and your course is over, so is that the only thing you do on that day, is just write that exam? You don't go to other classes?
That's
Or?
the
And
idea.
study.
And study for
And
your
study,
next
fair
one.
Okay, well that's an interesting part of it, because is it something you can study for?
Yes, it's
Oh,
like
sure.
a final exam
You have
by
to review
everything that we've all taken all the way through high school, only this time it's written by someone who doesn't know you. In some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad.
The biggest
I guess-
advantage.
Well, let's
I
get
guess the
back to that in a
idea-
second. Go
I
ahead.
think the idea of the exams is to have a standardized examination system throughout the province so that students who graduate in, say, Kamloops have the same standard as we do in Victoria.
So if you have a bad
So
teacher,
it regulates the system and the teachers, yes.
if you
Okay,
have a
so-
bad teacher and they don't teach you anything, then you'll probably fail.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's
That's
happened.
right.
It
That
happened in the
makes your
first set of
teacher,
exams.
it makes the bad teachers show up.
Right.
Well, okay, what you're saying is that the teacher is responsible for helping you learn what's on the exam, or are you responsible for learning what's on the exam?
I think the teacher is. Isn't that what the teacher's
Well,
there for, is to
with-
teach us the course?
When you were writing the exams, did you find that what you had covered through the year was on?
Home you're supposed to study, and the teacher is expected to go over that, and if you would like to go on, he can add to that, but the exam is based on what they chose as the curriculum for that course.
There's optional parts of some of the curriculums too. Like with physics and I think literature, there's a section, there's 3 optional sections in physics, I think, and you can take one of the 3, and the teacher teaches one of the 3, and then there'll be a choice of 3 major essays on the final exam on one of the 3 things.
Yeah, that's right. Like in Lit, we had, you read out
Yeah, do you remember-
Metaphysicals
do you
and
remember what they
was
were?
it Hamlet or the first? Was
Yeah.
it the second one? We
Yeah.
read Hamlet. And so you answered the essay on Hamlet.
Oh, I
in the
see.
exam.
So it's not really like a. See, I always thought that they were sort of out to get you almost in these provincial
Well, I guess
exams.
some
Like,
of them
Most people's exam marks are higher than their term marks.
really?
Yeah, but it's 50%, so you
Yeah.
could always fail, but it's not very likely.
I think the exams are good that they're standardized. I think it would be really hard for university entrance and stuff, people to know how people are doing unless it's standardized like that. And I think maybe the whole mark should be standardized like that. Maybe, but I don't like the idea of having the whole thing resting on one day.
Yeah,
it would be nice if they could do it so that there were 4 provincial exams for the course.
Yeah, there should be.
And they were all standardized the same way. That would be expensive and hard to organize, I guess. But
Okay.
it would probably be a good way. I like them, I think.
Okay, you say you think you're sort
Well,
of
there's
not sure about it yet?
disadvantages. The disadvantages are that the teachers teach to the exam, and they can't decide to add something of specific interest to the current time or the current or the area. Like in geography, if our teacher had talked more about maybe the Saanich Peninsula, I may have been interested because I live on the Saanich Peninsula, and I may have thought, wow, that was interesting, but it wouldn't help me on the final exam. So he didn't do anything like that. And with socials courses or history or something, there may be a historical event that is very closely related to something that's currently happening, and the teacher may choose to talk about that and how they relate, and it would be interesting and useful, but they don't do that kind of thing anymore because they're forced to be standardized.
How long have we had, like, provincial exams? Like, when did they start?
Instituted 1984. So the first exam was January 1984.
So it's relatively new.
Yeah, we wrote the 5th one now.
Okay, Karen, you were going to say something before. I don't know if I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it would be better if there were more than one exam, I feel, because there's so much pressure on you to write that one exam that's like 50% of your marks. So if you're just feeling sick or whatever that day, because I happened to, my French midterm, I had a horrible cold and I was coughing and I felt like totally horrible because I was interrupting everybody else. Never mind me not thinking what I was doing and not knowing what to do. So I ended up failing that exam, and if that happens to me at provincial exams, I don't know what'll happen exactly.
Okay, but have a much more devastating kind of effect. There's no makeup to the exam. Once you take it, that's it, I take it. Is that,
Yeah,
is
and
that
if
right?
you want to take the exam again, you have to take the course again. They don't allow you to what's called challenge the exam and write it once again without taking the course over.
Do they change them every year?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A good way to study for them, actually, is to get the old ones and go through them all. We've done that quite a lot.
How do you
So
get the
get
old
an
ones?
idea.
Did you feel
Well,
more?
the teachers have copies of the old exams, and we go through them and see what's going to be on.
Do you get them back, like, after?
No.
No,
taken?
you have no
And
idea.
how do you know what your score is on the exam then? What happens then? Is it
Takes
right away or?
Takes a
Results are-
while.
Yeah.
They all get sent to the province, and you don't put your name on them. You put a number so that they can identify you, and that way it also protects you from the biases of your teacher getting it marked that way.
So it's not true that they send them to the elementary schools to have the kids there mark them and grade them, is that right?
They're done by computer, the multiple choice part, and then the other part, I don't know who marks
I
them.
heard
Maybe it's
that-
the
So the
elementary
essay part
schools.
has to be
The
marked by
essay
some human
must
being.
be marked by someone, some human being who
I heard that the
hopefully
essay.
knows about the subject.
Yeah.
I heard that the essay was marked by a few teachers, like about 6 or 7, or not teachers, just anybody. It was anonymous people. They just go down a line, they mark the content, and then they get a whole bunch of other people to mark spelling. And so it's completely well done that way.
Assembly
There's
line,
nobody.
yeah.
They didn't know who you were, just a number. That's how our teacher said that they were marked for English anyway.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that one person marked the exam and that was that. I mean, you should be intelligent enough if you're an English teacher to notice the spelling errors.
Well,
But I
then
think what they
maybe
try and
for
do
English,
is get the same, as few people as possible marking a certain specific question so that it's more standardized. I'd think so. I don't know. I'm just,
Tom, is English a
Secondly.
provincial exam or not? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
But there's no scholarship exam for it.
Oh, but it's different though. It's
It doesn't. You can't get a scholarship in English.
There's not.
Everyone has
It's
to
3
take it.
hours long. It doesn't have the extra hour for scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the things that we have to deal with when we're talking about provincial exams, and you mentioned that a plus was that there was standards associated with it. We have a standard that we have to work towards now to take a break. And we'll be back after a couple of minutes to talk more about provincial exams, so please stay with us. Hello, welcome back to Ricochet. We're talking about provincial exams, and we've been looking at some of the pros and cons. Mostly we've looked at the advantages that it's a standardized approach and may help achieve some standards across the province. And then the negative side seemed to be that there was a worry about the curriculum becoming too rigid and not flexible enough to take in contemporary events or local concerns. And you had a question about it.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
I was just wondering how you guys felt when you went in, like when you went into the exam, whether you felt prepared, because you're saying that it's a standard test, obviously, and so there's a standard amount of information that has to be covered by the teachers, but did you feel that they had covered that? Like, did you feel going in, that's what I'm worried about, that when I go in, that what has been taught to me is not what's going to be all on the exam, you know what I mean? Like, it's not all going to be covered, or what has been covered will not be on the exam type of thing?
So how did you guys feel about going into the exam?
Well, I have a lot of confidence in the teachers I had last semester. I think they're very good at what they do, and I think they took it very seriously, and they taught us what we had to know. Though I can see that with other teachers, I wouldn't have that much confidence, and I'd be very worried. I felt quite good actually going in, but there's so much pressure, you can't sleep. It's just like any other exam, whether it's a provincial exam or a school exam, it is your final exam, and it's that important.
Because it wasn't that much
So you
different
do
than
worry.
other types of exams, but when you said you felt confident, but then you couldn't sleep, can you,
Well,
you mean like
you
couldn't
worry
sleep for a
just-
week, or?
Yeah, you worry just like any other exam, I guess, because it's worth a lot, 50%. Though I think we're better off than students, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but in Ontario, for a while, for many years actually, your final exam was worth 100% of your mark. Ours was worth 50. So I think we're a little better off that way.
Okay, what's the other 50%, the mark that you get in the
School
class?
mark.
Nickels and dimes.
That's right.
What do
I
you mean by
hate
that, Tom?
nickels and dimes.
What's that mean?
Well, in some of my classes, I'll take it. Geography, for an example. Our teacher likes to mark everything, and every day we had to hand something in.
Yeah.
And we were handing in all these little, like, if we took notes, we had to hand it in. If we did questions, we had to hand it in. And every day I'd have to hand something in, and it would be out of 2 or 1, and I'd go, who cares? It's only out of 2. I'll hand it in some other time, or who cares? I only got 1 out of 2. But then I think that's only 50%. And in biology, we were getting tests almost every day, and I don't like that. I can't handle doing stuff every day that counts for marks. That
No, but that's good for you.
if it doesn't count for very much, it seems insignificant. As for the final exam, I prepared for it and didn't have any trouble putting in lots and lots of time and stuff to prepare for it, because I knew how much it was worth. I knew it was worth my mark, and I could change my letter grade by working hard for the final exam, so it was easier for me.
How long did you prepare for it? Like, how long did you?
I started at Christmas holidays, so I don't know.
Most kids did, so
I couldn't
don't
say
open
in
your
hours.
mouths and anything.
I couldn't say in hours how long I spent on all of my courses or anything.
Well, how about for you? What was it like for you thinking about the exam?
I think, for thinking about it, preparing for it.
Well, both, thinking and preparing for it.
Okay,
What
I
was it
think
like?
I started on Christmas holidays, and our teachers are telling us to start by halfway through November. I rewrote all my notes. I find that it doesn't help for me just to read it over again. I write it again, and I organize it in my mind in a logical fashion. I would say it takes me maybe 40 or 50 hours per course to study.
Well, now, Michelle, let me understand this. You started around Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
So now, did that put a damper on how you spent the Christmas holidays?
No, because I wasn't thinking, I was thinking, oh boy, I'm being so studious. I'm so far ahead of everybody else. This is only Christmas, and I've got a month to go. But it didn't start bothering me until about 2 or 3 days before the exam. Then I got worried.
Okay, so you didn't do anything different during Christmas time. You still had your normal holidays.
Except, yeah, I suppose normal Christmases I would not have opened a book at all, period.
It's so strange, though, you know, when you go through like the final year.
Well, one thing I'd like to know about is you're preparing for the exam and you have certain thoughts and feelings about it. What was it like when you actually went in to sit down for the exam? What was going through your mind at that point? You sort of referred to a little bit, Tony, when you said you felt pretty confident that some of the teachers you had were quite good and you felt you were well prepared. But the actual sitting down, and what was going through your mind then? I mean, would you feel frightened, or did you feel,
I had different reactions for
what?
different exams.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about it.
For geography, I went in and I felt really good. I thought, oh, I'm going to destroy this. I'm going to do really well. Our teacher told us the day before, I want you guys to go on a walk before and have a leisurely lunch and destroy that exam. And I got in there and I said, I'm going to destroy this exam. And maybe I did. I did a lot better than I did in the course, I'm sure. And
So it was like a pep talk that the teacher gave you?
no,
and
it
you
wasn't
really-
the pep talk
No?
that did it. It was doing the exams beforehand and seeing that they were easy. And then when I sat down, saw the exam that I had in front of me was even easier than the ones I'd done before, I was really happy. But with algebra, I sat down on the exam and it took me a while to realize, but I thought, this is too long. And I didn't finish it. And I found it really hard and didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, so you felt less confident with the algebra one?
I wasn't nearly as confident. And I guess I guess it's me not being as good at algebra, but I got the same marks in the courses at school as in algebra and geography. But maybe it's the teachers. Maybe I wasn't well prepared or didn't spend as much time on algebra. I don't
Okay,
know.
we'll come back to the teachers in a second. How about for you, Michelle? What sort of feelings were you experiencing when you sat down to take the exam? What did it feel like for you? Was it the same as...
It felt a bit sort of sink or swim. I didn't... There's one thing about writing them is that the teacher who taught the course didn't make up the exam, and so they ask you're not sure exactly what they're aiming for in their questions. They're a little bit twisted in comparison to what you're used to. I didn't like the way it was asked because I wasn't sure what they were expecting as an answer from me. But not so much the multiple choice ones, but a lot of the essay questions were a little vague, yeah, a little convoluted. What they were asking was sort of a roundabout way to get there. When I went in there, I felt very scared and sort of like my head was overflowing with facts.
Yeah.
Okay, is that similar to what you were
Well, like,
describing as well?
yeah, that's how I felt in grade 11. And I guess, I don't know,
Exams, you might get $1,000 from writing them.
Who writes
Wow.
the exams?
Every student who takes it.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, who
like,
makes them up? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, and I think whoever makes them up should be doing a better job of it.
Some secret wizard somewhere.
Yeah, it's only like one or two people who make it up. I thought it would be a committee of people, but it's only one or two who hold up in the corner of the Ministry of Education and make them up.
So it's kind of like a Michelangelo of exams somewhere writing these things up, creating them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why he's not teaching.
Too busy working these exams up. Well, Laurel and Karen, in thinking and hearing about this, you were getting some advice about these exams coming up. What does it sound like to you? Is it making you more worried or less worried about it, or?
Well,
less worried.
sort of.
Okay.
I don't know. I really should prepare more than I did for these ones in the midterms. Like, I know I didn't prepare as well as I should have, so next year I'll probably start studying at Christmas time.
Okay,
So that I'll
you're hearing that advice.
do a little better on most of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think it's
Laurel?
less worried because, I mean, what Tom said about what was on the exam, like 50% multiple choice for some, I guess, it sounds easier. I thought they'd be like all essay questions or something like that.
It's hard to know, though, with multiple choice because you have to know what you're doing because they have, like, distractors and they have, like, the right answers, and sometimes the multiple choice can just be
That can be a
brutal.
little tricky.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like them. If you just see, usually I know if something
Yeah.
clicks in my head, I know that it's right. And you can easily rule out two of them most times.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to take a break, and we'll be right back to finish up talking about provincial exams. Stay tuned. Hello, we're finishing our discussion about provincial exams, and actually I had expected to have a little more controversy about exams. I thought you would be more against them or thinking they weren't worth it and so on, but it seems like you're pretty supportive of exams. Are there any other things about them you wanted to say?
Our teachers aren't as supportive of them as we are, I think. Some of them
I mean, there's
aren't.
more controversy among teachers
Yeah,
than there
I think
is?
so. Or I don't know, but it seems to me that some of our teachers are a bit defensive about them. They may feel threatened. They may feel that if they don't teach well for a semester, then it will show up on the exam,
Yeah.
or they may just agree with me about, you know, the curriculum being too narrow and being close to the exam.
Okay,
It puts
Michelle?
as much pressure on
Oh,
them
sorry.
as on us, I guess.
Okay, so the teachers
Yeah.
feel pressure.
Mhm.
Okay, I hope they're watching the show to hear you talk about them like that. Michelle, what were you going to say about it?
Oh, I just, one thing I do like about the exams is that it seems to me like the teachers are behind you because they want you to succeed. They don't feel, if you're asking questions, that if they've put that exact question on the exam, of course they're not going to want to help you. But seeing as they haven't written the exam, they want to help you in any way possible for you to succeed. and it feels like they're behind you. It's a little more
I noticed
supportive.
that too. This year, when we were writing the provincial exams, they were really trying to tell you as much as they could instead of as little as they could about the final exam. It was a big switch.
Amazingly enough, they actually told us what you can do to avoid showing what you don't know, which they would never have done if they'd been writing the exam, because of course they're testing you on what you know. But our French teacher was saying, if you don't know what to use the subjunctive form, then just put it this way. And she'd never say that.
Well, I'm sorry, we've sort of run out of time just when we're getting to be very supportive of how teachers can help you and how they're really working together. If people are interested in knowing more about provincial exams, I suggest that they see their grade 12 teachers. Don't write our show, because we'll be talking about something else. So see you again next week on Ricochet. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.